Hello again, everyone. I want to give you my quick thoughts on Netflix's Fear Street 1994. Fear Street 1994 takes place in Shadyside, Ohio, a small little town where the night before a murder took place inside of a mall. This became a reoccurring theme throughout the town of Shadyside, as it has a long history of serial killers going randomly crazy and just killing people. Suddenly, a curse that has been plaguing the town, known as the Sarah Fear curse, starts targeting one specific girl in a group of friends, but they find it more challenging as these killers from the past are not as easy to get rid of and will not stop until their friend is dead. So let me first go over what I really liked about it. I loved the practical effects. I think the effects were fantastic. It was so much gorier than I was expecting. I really was shocked. I was expecting it to lean more towards scary stories to tell in the dark meets Stranger Things, but it kind of leaned more towards if you took Stranger Things and put it kind of in the It universe. I liked that they had different elements sprinkled throughout. It had the supernatural, it had practical serial killers, detective works, it had some kind of really well written coming of age style writing, which that kind of blew me away. It's hard for me to go into. I know it's a newer movie. I really don't want to spoil it. It is really good. Here is the major downside I had with it. And this is me particularly. This isn't a fault on the film. Now, it wouldn't bug me as much if the movie wasn't called Fear Street 1994. I grew up in the 90s, as a lot of you know, and what really pissed me off, when they do period piece movies, they'll play music from the time. Makes sense. But usually, that's why when they do a period piece movie, they don't set it in a specific year. They just kind of vaguely tell you, oh, it's in the 80s or it's in the 70s or whatever. So they could play around with like the soundtrack or whatever. The fact that it's set in 1994 specifically, and I'm not joking here, 80% of the songs that they used were songs made in either 1995, 1996, or at one point 1997. Pissed me off to no end. Because I'm like thinking, look, 94 was the era of grunge. Use some grunge. It would work perfect for a horror film. Use some grunge. Or use some creepy R&B hip-hop back in the day, gangsta rap music, something. No, they play the rock radio hits. They play the ones that were just popular at the time. There's even a song that plays that I know for a fact came out in 1997 because I bought the album. And it wouldn't bug me so much if it wasn't called 1994. It really didn't even have that many elements of a 90s aesthetic too much. Other than the rotary dial, the mall scenes, that's pretty much it. There's even a point where the kid is talking in an old school M-DOS chat room, but it didn't look like an M-DOS chat room from 1994. It looked like an M-DOS chat room from 1999. I know, those are nitpicks, but for the film itself, I loved the adaptation of it. It did something completely different. It took the concepts of Fear Street, written by R.L. Stine, and did it more justice. A lot of people are more familiar with his other work, Goosebumps. That's the most famous thing he ever did. But Fear Street was actually really, really good. I recommend people, read them. They're actually really short, really well-written books. Goosebumps was horror for kids leaning towards teenagers, whereas Fear Street was teenagers leaning a little more towards adult. And this movie really felt like that. Fear Street 1994 is currently available on Netflix. Have you seen it? Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow me on social media, and as always, I'll see you next time.